This is the 184th episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the first day of August, 2014. This episode is titled Ideation. CloudFocus Weekly is brought to you by Arkus, specializing in Salesforce implementations, consulting, and Force.com development. Search for Arkus, A-R-K-U-S, on the App Exchange and read what our clients have to say about us. I'm your host, Jason Atwood, and joining me, co-host, 184 times in a row, and has not taken a break ever, Justin Edelstein. Justin, how are you doing today?
Don't stop. Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop. You can do a little, can't stop, won't. I don't know. I feel like that's a Miley Cyrus song.
I don't think so. Maybe.
Speaking of Miley Cyrus songs.
She probably ripped it off from someone else. I feel like that's someone else's song.
Probably.
And
most songs are most songs are someone else's song. My favorite other song, my two favorite other songs, someone else's other songs. Yeah. Sinead O'Connor's what's her big song? It was like Cry for You or Don't You Compare to You.
Yeah.
Right? Written by Prince.
Okay.
For and it was written the other way, so it was written man to woman, whatever. She sings it woman to man. That's fun. My other Prince fun story is that the famous, now very famous
Prince Focus Weekly.
Idina Menzel's everybody knows the song Frozen. No, sorry, not Frozen. It's Let It Go. Let it go, let it go. All right, huge Frozen movie, whatever, Let It Go. So they were doing it with Prince. I guess he was in the studio, and they were sort of writing the song, and they were talking to him about it, and they're like, and he listened to it, and he's like, you know what, I think you need a hook. I think you need something like that she says, some sort of catchphrase. She's like, like it's colder. She's like, how about, like, the cold never bothered me anyway. So it's like a famous song in that song, or a famous lyric in the song. The cold never bothered me anyway.
Right. So how about we move along?
Let it go.
Oh, boy.
Let it go. It's Friday, baby.
I have to see that movie, I guess.
You haven't seen it?
No.
I haven't.
I don't have children.
I have iTunes.
I don't have children.
I own it. See, if you want to see it, I can lend it to you. I need a lend. You know what? That's
how do you do that?
I could give you a lender.
But how do you lend me your iTunes
Easy.
movie? Really?
Yep.
I
have an extra iPad mini sitting around my house. I can just hand it to you.
And then I can AirPlay it?
And then you could AirPlay it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right.
All right. Let's get to it.
All right. Let's get to it. So,
banter thing. We do need like a thing. You're right. You said it last week. We need a thing to get us from banter to real, other banter. Yeah, like something real though, like a sound effect that you can hit.
Good banter. Let's get to the news.
Right. Like some guy who says that in an announcer voice.
I listen to a lot of podcasts, and
they all do that.
Yeah, but they have, what they have that we don't have, or
sound
they actually
effects,
do.
Producers.
Yeah, that's it. Bingo. Producers.
Oh,
here's our producer. It's an empty chair.
Well, maybe when Arkus is enormous, we can just do podcasts.
Well, when we get bought out for CloudFocus Weekly, and there's just a CloudFocus Weekly, it's all we do all week.
All we do.
We do CloudFocus Daily.
CloudFocus Daily.
CloudFocus Hourly.
We have enough.
Maybe
I
we
don't
do
think
an
we have
hour
enough
podcast.
to talk about.
We don't. We just sit around.
we just talk.
And we sing.
People love
Let
us.
it go. Let
live,
it go.
It's streaming live. All right.
I
feel like we're 20 minutes into this.
We are exactly 3 minutes in.
Oh, all right. It felt like 20.
No,
sorry,
it felt like
listening.
20.
People are listening on 2.5 speed right now. They're like, okay, let's move on.
We do have a listener who listens at we have
double
speed.
Many listeners who listen at 1.5 to 2 speed.
So if I talk like this, does this really sound like you actually listen to me if I talk like this?
No, that's no good.
Slow. Yeah, actually, that's what we should do. For those people, today's episode will be recorded slow.
Very slow.
Wow. Okay, if you're still around,
let's go. News day.
Yeah, let's talk about our fun things. So last week we did our productivity tips and tools. Well received. Thanks for the feedback we got from that. I actually picked up my pick of the week. Will be from someone repicking a pick to me.
Nice.
That I bought and now I'm using.
Excellent.
But we have some blog catch up to do. We have 2 blog posts. One you wrote, so I'm sure you actually want to talk about it. And the other one is kind of a fun success community one. We'll talk about those. And then we will also then sort of get into sort of the ideation or the idea side of this. You have been putting in lots of ideas on work.com stuff.
Lots of work.com
So we're going to talk about a
ideas.
couple of them. Maybe get into a little bit of work.com love. And then I have the most trendingest idea on the trending idea planet.
Dude, if you go to the Idea Exchange, your face is right at the top.
It's right there at the top.
And it's been pinned there for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm right there. I'm in it. I'm in it to win it.
It's a very
So we're going to talk about that.
Hot idea.
We're going to talk about that. And so let's get to it. So first, let's go with the most recent blog post, which is written by the partner who shall never be named, called Success, Community, and Wellness Equals Like. Actually published today, so this is hot off the presses.
Hot. It's hot. It's hot in the streets.
Which I'm not going to go over the whole thing because it's a good blog post in that it tells you what it's about, but I'm going to give you the sort of the high level because it's an interesting take. Again, the blog master, aka you, sometimes throws in stuff that's not, it's not something stupid like Salesforce change sets. Like, who wants to listen to that? But, oh, wait, sorry.
Hold on a second.
That's
Hold
your
on
blog
just
post.
a second.
But this one's about the success community and how the partner who shall not be named sort of took the Dreamforce 13 sort of wellness track. I don't know. Was it really a track or was it just sort of a theme?
It was a theme.
I'm gonna say
and
theme.
It's been going on for the last 2 Dreamforces where that last day has a full morning of sort of wellness or motivation or self-improvement theme to it.
Right.
And 2 years ago it was Tony Robbins. Last year it was Dr. Wayne Dwyer. And who was the big speaker?
No, not Gupta.
No.
Chopra.
Deepak
Chopra.
Right.
Chopra. He's looking at me like, oh my God, we're going to have to cover that up.
So yeah, that was
There's
last
no
year.
editing.
And then
wait, hold on. Wait, let's talk to the producer. Hey, producer, make sure to cut that
Edit
out.
that out
Cut
in
that
post.
out.
Thank you.
That does not hit the
In
airs
post.
because I don't want to say Chopra.
And this year, I imagine it'll be Tony Robbins again since he's going to be at Dreamforce.
T-Rob, as we like to call him
around here. So yeah, this blog post is all about where you can go inside of the Salesforce Success community to get more involved in wellness.
Right.
So whether it be the Dreamforce 14 Health and Weight Loss Challenge group,
Yep.
the WellForce group,
Yep.
the Running for Success group. So like the Dreamforce 5K, there's a lot of people in that success community that are about health and wellness and self-improvement. And it's a very interesting post about how Salesforce being this common theme or thread through all the people that created the community has this little offshoot community of people who are really into self-improvement and wellness.
And this is really where the community becomes a community, where and I, doodle, back in time.
Thank you, producer, for those amazing sound effects.
I used to run online, websites back in the day before there were blogs. They were just websites.
Online websites?
Online
or just
websites. They were online.
I've just watched now I'm going down a complete rat hole. I've watched The Internship now.
Rat hole.
Thanks. That movie, The Internship, where Vince Vaughn and what's his face are interns at Google, and it's like one of those movies, and it's funny. And Vince Vaughn keeps saying "on the line,"
on the line.
Oh,
terrible!
Like, instead of online, he's like on the. Yeah, you take a picture and it goes on the line.
All right, so just to let you, if we're rat holing on
the line,
we are
totally
let's keep going.
Keep going.
I watched the worst movie on the planet last night.
What was it?
Noah. Oh my!
No interest.
The most terrible. So I
will never watch that movie.
What's the movie with Will Smith? Beyond Earth. Will Smith and his kid. They did that one like a year and a half ago.
I don't know the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
I think it's Beyond Earth.
Whatever.
It's literally one of the most panned movies since Waterworld. Right? It is just universally panned.
Not good.
Panned. Like their rating
Who's
is like
in Noah? Isn't there a star of Noah?
All stars
Who's
all the time.
Isn't there a
it's
guy
got Anthony
that's
Hopkins. It's got now I'm forgetting. He shouldn't even be remembered. He's so terrible in it. Anyway,
well, there you go.
Don't watch it.
Don't watch Noah.
But the point was, at the end of this movie, it was so bad. I was like, I need to go see After Earth. It's After Earth. That's what it is. I need to go see After Earth now, or rent it, or on Netflix, whatever, because I need to compare it to this movie to see if this one is actually true the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
You should watch The Internship first, because it's silly and stupid.
Yeah, but I like those funny movies. All right. So I used to run online online websites.
On the line
websites.
Online.
Yeah. And part of them were, the big part of it was the community aspect of a forum, which forums are kind of outdated at this point, but a forum. And I knew when I was building them, I used to say when you get to like 300 people sort of logging in, or users, where you get to sort of they self motivate and they start talking. But as they started to go off topic, which is a big thing in forums, like you'd say something's off topic.
Hashtag off topic.
Right. But it was a good thing where people would start talking about things that weren't necessarily what, they started talking about running or their favorite movies or whatever. And that's how I think it's interesting to watch Salesforce community, which now has, over a million members.
Over a million members.
I'd love to know the active members.
Well, I count like 70-something times, I think. So
that's
not
true.
really sure. They don't even have the 1.2 million members. Yeah. 1,284,000.
I'd love to know active members.
I'm going to say currently contributing to the community.
I'm saying 300,000.
By the way, you're on the homepage of the Success.
I know,
like the literal homepage as a trending idea.
I know.
Jason Atwood.
We're going to talk about that.
Wow.
Anyway, I think the wellness.
I didn't know you were on the homepage.
I am on the homepage.
Pictures,
I'm
like,
that
right
big.
there.
Boom! Cool. There I am. Boom! Wait, let's get our producer to give some.
Cool.
You give us some explosion sounds.
Okay, thank you, producer.
Arky is our producer. There he is.
That's pretty cool.
And he's good.
I like that.
So anyway, this is interesting because it's really making the Salesforce success community turn into a community where they're going beyond the bounds of, field sets and Salesforce. Right. And
Salesforce is obviously the thread that ties the whole thing together. But it's totally shot off into all sorts of different places. And this partner, who shall remain nameless, is really into wellness, and he's been in the community sort of participating.
He dropped some personal knowledge in this blog post.
Dropped some personal knowledge in there, and I think everyone should, if you're into that kind of thing, will enjoy this blog post because it'll steer you in the right direction on where to get involved.
Where could I go to find this blog post?
blog.arkusinc.com.
Awesome. Where else could I find there?
You could find my post that I wrote, which you mocked, called Salesforce Change Sets for System Administrators.
That's easy for you to say.
Not so much. So
wait, hold on. Let's get the producer. Oh, man, he just nailed that.
So the idea was that I would give an overview for system administrators around what is a change set, how you can utilize them to move things between a sandbox and production environments, and some best practices around, don't just go into production and add stuff. Go into sandbox, add stuff, test it, and then very simply use a change set to move it over into production.
Yep.
I'm not going to go into the whole thing. What is a change set is all described. Understanding deployment connections is in there. Adding components to change sets are in there.
I love that in the screenshot you literally use.
I used our own deployment.
Right, of something that we actually are deployed internally.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's a better screenshot than going to find some random thing.
It's good.
I put some gotchas in there.
Okay.
That I think people will be interested in knowing, and just having a lot of experience with change sets. There's some things that you're going to want to know. There's dependencies, and if production and sandbox aren't exactly the same, or if one is on spring and one is on summer, there's some issues there. There's also, I'll just say unequivocally, the user interface for actually adding components to a change set is not the greatest thing in the universe.
It's still 4 years old.
It's not changed. Yeah. So it's rough. It doesn't hold state. So if you're paginating from one page to the next and you've checked a bunch of stuff off and you go to the next page, you've lost all that stuff. It's not the greatest thing in the universe. So I added a few ideas.
Good, Sagui.
Into the blog post.
The Arkus. The Arky, yeah.
Producer.
Sagui!
Right. So I added some ideas that everyone can vote on to make change sets better.
Oh, excellent. But we're going to go into other ideas.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about those
nice
ideas.
Sagui.
You can go in.
You didn't Sagui us.
Well, yeah, we're going to talk about ideas.
Okay,
Let's talk about some ideas. Which one do you want to start with? Your mega idea that's just blowing up the planet right now?
No, let's talk about your
mywork.com series.
Let's talk about your series first, but I'm going to start by saying I'm going to do the unthinkable. I'm going to actually explain what the idea exchange is.
Oh, yeah, you should do that.
Yeah.
Do it.
So for those of you new to Salesforce or new to listen to this podcast or new to the world, welcome. The Idea Exchange is now part of the Success community. It was built many, many years ago based on some software. What was it, Crispy News?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
Look at that off the top of my head.
That was a long, long while ago.
Top of my head. So the idea of the Idea Exchange being user submitted ideas that people would vote on, and that Salesforce uses as part. I think it's like 30%. Isn't it 30% of their development cycle?
I don't think they put a percentage on it.
I feel like they do.
I don't believe
feel
they
like the
do.
product managers
Externally, I don't believe that they put a number on it.
I think the
do
product
know
managers
that the
have to
product
have-
managers do have to look at it, and I believe they're incentivized on it
Yes.
somehow, maybe, perhaps. But I don't think there's like a hard number, like you must deliver X ideas in the next release.
Well, I do know that they get.
They do get shouted out in the release notes, though.
No, they look for the closing out of points.
Yes.
So if they can close out a high value,
Right.
So this is the way Idea
They
Exchange
wanna kill
works.
points.
People put in ideas, people vote on them. For every vote, you get 10 points. You have to be a Salesforce. You have to have Salesforce log in to vote, so it's not just
Right.
anonymous voting. And there's commenting, et cetera, et cetera. So it's all part of the new Success community. It seems old at this point, but there used to be the Idea Exchange, which is its own thing. And it's also a product that is embedded in Salesforce, Ideas, which you can enable in your org to sort of do the same thing. But anyway, so there are different categories. There's trending, there's this and that. And then, yes, Salesforce goes through during the release cycle, picks them, either says, and then sort of tags them as, under consideration or delivered if they deliver it, or they'll throw App Exchange product available. So they'll kind of say, hey, listen, this is already done. Now, good ideas or old ideas will, have tons and tons of votes. I'd say,
Right.
Above 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. There's some out there that are like 17,000 votes. And they also show you who voted on them and who commented on them. So it's very open to see, what happened. You can actually downvote. I don't see a lot of downvotes now.
I downvote things
if you think it's just silly.
if it's just like if it's not an idea.
Oh, okay.
If it's more of a like something that should be in answers.
Right. And so it all kind of, bakes together in your profile. You can go to someone's Success community profile, see how many ideas they've submitted. It's a measurement.
You can merge requests.
You can merge them
Which I've done.
if two people have done the same request.
If you've seen that one before, you might want to merge two things together.
And with our clients, a lot of the time, if something comes up that they're kind of frustrated that Salesforce doesn't do, I'll go find the idea and I'll ship it to them and say, here, go vote on it.
Yep.
Right? Here's the idea, and some of them are the big ones that they have turned into things. So anyway, so that's the Idea Exchange. And they have different categories, and one of them is they do them by the product. So some of them they have chatters of categories.
A lot of topics.
Yeah,
a lot of categories.
A lot of
Tons
categories.
of them. They do it by application, platform, App Exchange, non-product ideas, all sorts of stuff.
So because you have been working on
working
Work.com.
on some Work.com stuff. So I have 6 ideas for the Work.com people. I just filtered my idea list.
Yeah, I'm
so
just
I'll
gonna
start
go
at the bottom.
find you.
Actually, I did put the same idea in twice. It was that frustrating. It started frustrating me later, and I forgot that I had already put the idea in.
Wow.
So I actually submitted a merge request for my own 2 ideas. At least I did that, so that someone will take care of it.
That is good. By the way, you have 28 ideas on the Idea Exchange. Just
3 of them have been delivered, which is a high percentage, actually.
That is a high percentage. Well, you're killing your percentage by adding all these new ones now.
That's fine.
All right, so give me like a couple. So you can go to your
you can
profile.
actually go to me and find these if you really want to and vote on them. I would encourage you to.
Yes.
So
looks like some of them I actually haven't voted on yet. Oh, there you go.
So
you just got another vote.
One of the ones I really, really would like to see is the allowing of merge fields in instructional text. So every Work.com question in a summary, known to most people as a performance review, has the ability to merge in some very basic stuff in the question.
Right.
So like first name in the title of the question. For example, like, Justin's progress to date. As opposed to just saying progress to date, you can merge in, the person whom you're reviewing, name, progress to date. But you can't do it in the instructional text, the help text, which would be really nice because you might want to put in the help text, please comment on Justin's project progress to date with regards to their main areas of work, like going further with the ability to actually merge some fields into places.
So I have a question for you. It's kind of a side thing because you got a bunch here.
I got a bunch that are like
You don't put in pictures. I always put in pictures of mine. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think I get better traction if I put in pictures.
I feel like I might have put in pictures on one of these because there's one of them that's ridiculous. It's the performance summary reporting on text fields one.
Right.
So when you report on text fields in a performance summary, particularly when the answers bring in prior work, which is really like kind of the cool part of filling out a text field in a performance summary, you can bring in your recognition, you can bring in your goals, your completed goals, etc., and say, here's what I've done. It's useful.
Right. Here's how good I am.
Yeah, it's the validation, and it's here's the evidence of what I've done. When you report on those text fields, it's just muckety muck.
Well, it's HTML.
Yeah, and it doesn't look good in a report.
Because
it looks
it's HTML.
horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can report on the goal, and it looks fine. But when you report on the goal pulled into one of these fields, it looks like crap.
What's interesting is that, and I think this is a bigger topic about Work.com. Work.com, while it's gone, and I'm really air quoting here, on platform.
Right.
It is not on platform.
No.
That's why I'm air quoting it.
So I'm going to give two more. Sorry.
No, come on.
I was just going to give two more.
We'll just read them.
Well,
I mean, the amount of people who want to hear Work.com ideas.
This is on our agenda, is it not?
Okay.
So sharing a peer
Not all
review,
17
sharing
of
a
them.
peer review once it's been submitted.
Awesome.
So if I'm reviewing somebody, I have to say I want to share this with them or not.
Right.
And if I don't say I want to share it with them in the user interface, and then later I want them to see it, it's 15 steps in Workbench to make that happen.
Wow.
That's not fun.
That's not fun.
And then you can't reorder questions once you put together a performance summary. So say you have a 40-question summary, which is big.
Right.
And then you want to add a question, but it needs to be like in the middle. You can't do it. You have to literally delete the 20 questions and then add the one and then add them back in. And it's not like rearranging a page layout where the fields exist. These are not fields. They don't exist. They're like questions. So it's a real pain to move the layout of a summary around once it's sort of created. So you really want to make sure that you actually like lay it out in like Word or a Google Doc first and say, is this what you want for sure? Are you going to add anything to it ever? It's like, no. Okay, good. Then I'll create it. Later on, you can figure it out in the next cycle. Those are a bunch of ideas. I think you...
Yeah, I was going to say, so this, now we're going to the sort of, if you go to this success.salesforce.com and you scroll down, currently, my idea, which I posted 15 days ago, which has 46 comments and 2,620 points, is trending. So this came about, I talked about this. We all know my love for Spring 14 release. And actually, Summer 14 had lots of new stuff in it, but includes something that I would consider about as anti-customer company as you can get.
I would agree with that.
Which is, and I'm going to get a little harsh here, so put on the flame retardant outfits. But they included as part of the rollout in Summer 14 this thing called the notification banner. It's also, I think it's called the Salesforce notification banner. It's actually, yes, that's what they call it. And it comes into your org and it throws this huge banner across the top between the tabs and the data.
Right.
So, and it throws it across the top of both in setup and records.
Yeah.
It is big, it is bold,
really
and it's
big,
usually
really bold.
telling you to do something like mobile or, I mean, I've seen only a couple of them, but mobile's the big one I keep seeing over and over again. It is basically advertising. It is basically an ad banner. It's an internal ad banner, but it's an ad banner. So just on the top of it, that sounds like a terrible, terrible idea that nobody ever asked any customer, because no customer in the world would say, you know what? Yeah, give me a big banner that is in my org.
Can I augment this just to stop you at the pass?
No.
I would like to.
Well,
so I'm doing it. So people have asked.
Producer, cut this out.
People have asked.
No one's going to hear what you just about to say.
Oh. Well.
Okay.
People have asked for notification banners.
Yes.
But they want them so that they can push out notifications to users for like special events
Yes.
and rolling out release notes, not Salesforce release notes, but we just made a change.
Absolutely.
Here's some new stuff. We suggest you go do this. We're throwing a party, whatever it might be.
I was going to mention that as part of what the comments.
A lot of the comments want this customizable.
So this. I was going to get to that. So
all right.
That's why the producer will cut that whole thing you just said out.
Sorry, producer.
So this as an idea alone, just a big thing that advertises, Salesforce functionality within Salesforce to your users is a bad idea. It's just a bad idea.
Bad.
Right?
It's not good.
The thing that made it go over the top, and now is why it's being voted on so much and why it needs extra special attention. So I'm really calling on every listener in the planet who, all 40 trillion of you.
Vote. I've already voted.
Yep. Is that it is enabled by default. So, as we mentioned before, this means that when Summer 14 hit your org, all of a sudden this feature, which is under Customize UI, it's a little checkbox, was enabled by default. Now, so my issue with that is not only is it a terrible feature, but it's a terrible feature that you enabled by default and we have no control over. So, as everybody's commented in it and said, this is advertising. It's advertising inside of a paid product, and it's not, no one asked for this. No one asked for this feature. The feature that they asked for is not something you're delivering. And so the idea is called rollback Salesforce non-notification banner to default off. Meaning, if you're going to roll out a horrible feature that nobody wants and no one's asked for, at least roll it out off. And my compromise on this, because I know what the Salesforce product managers would probably say. Not that any of them have contacted me privately since this has gone live, hint, hint, and has said, well, we want to do this because we want to do adoption or whatever, and if I roll it off to off, well, then no one will ever turn it on. True. Well, that's probably a good indicator of how bad it is.
How people don't want it.
But but here's the compromise. You could have it default on to any net new org. So you go sign up for your trial tomorrow.
It's on. Right.
Every new customer you ever have from the now to the end of days, you could default it to on.
Right.
That's fair.
Or this could have been like when they rolled out the instant messenger chatter thing, where you got notified a month or so in advance. We're automatically turning this on. You have to send us a case or something if you don't want this turned on.
That I would have been just as pissed off, because you shouldn't have to put in a case to turn checkbox off.
But wouldn't it have been better than just turning it on? I'm just saying it's a step that could have been taken that could have alleviated some of the pain. I don't even want them
to have that idea.
But that could have happened, right? And it didn't.
Or a warning. How about this? A whole release cycle warning. We're going to enable it to off. Right, we're going to enable it to on starting in this release. If you enable it off, it will not come on.
Fine.
Right?
Something like in advance. Some of the comments are great.
Oh, they're great.
So I'm going to read a few.
Yeah, read some.
Here's one. I feel like I can say their names. This is all.
Well,
you can
public.
go in there. Well, it's not public.
Yeah,
you have to log in to look at it.
To see the comments?
You can see it all without logging. All right, fine. No, you don't. So Crystal Owens says, Jason Atwood, your description and bluntness is hilarious. However, I agree completely. This feature shouldn't have been rolled out. Now, this is where this is interesting. We are an ISV partner and do not want Salesforce branding on any of our pages. We had to have an intern log in to each of our customers' orgs to disable this setting. We're talking several hundred orgs. Thanks, Salesforce. So, as a company who's trying to be a platform for ISVs to build their own solutions, those people who are building solutions on your platform want to sell it as their solution, not Salesforce. And when you get Salesforce stuff popping up, that kind of goes against the idea of enabling an ISV to really distinguish themselves as their own product.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you don't want that
stuff.
So
there's two sides. The other comment that hits every time, there's a lot, 48 comments. There are some that do something like this, like Alex Jacoby says, we pay enough to live without spammy banners. Or Sander de Jong says, this cannot be explained to users. Come on, Salesforce, customer-oriented company, ? Just like Facebook, ? So the other side.
There's also ones there. Well, this is a terrible idea.
Those are good.
Those are
so what
an aggressive attack against taste.
What I think is interesting is that people do want the feature, but only on two sides. One, it's off, just off to start, and two, or again, for existing orgs. And 2, they want to customize it. So if I could put my banner or my notification in there to my users and turn it on for those users, and again, then we get into profile stuff and domestic stuff.
But if I want to drive adoption of a certain feature,
right,
let me do that with this notification. And if the user is savvy and clicks the little X and gets it out of their face, fine, they don't want it. The other thing about this is that it can and does go against internal IT security policies because it's driving adoption of Salesforce One Mobile in this case. And there are shops that just don't let you use that and don't want you to know it exists and don't let you log into it anyway. So why advertise something that's completely out of context, right? If I can't use Salesforce One Mobile and you know that I can't use it because it's like completely shut off from my org, don't advertise it. If I'm already using it,
why would you show it to me?
Don't show it to me. I know I already have it.
That's the thing. It's not contextual. It's not smart. It's not targeted to anybody that's actually useful. It's just spam. Spam is not smart. Like when you get spam in your inbox asking you to buy more Viagra, it's not because they know you need Viagra. It's because they're just sending out billions and billions and billions of emails.
Right.
So it's why I can't stand it. And what I guess the biggest issue, and then we'll move on, and I will have said my say until I come back and I say more say, is that it goes on top of a kind of a trend that's been happening over the years that I feel like they do this repeatedly, and I think that this type of thing should be taken away from their DNA. Like remove this from your DNA, Salesforce. For a paid application, internal communication around features and functions and things should only be something that I as an administrator should be able to enable if I want to, but not shown to users unless they don't. There's tons of stuff, and it started with I've been a user since 2000. It started with we talked about this before. When you would install Outlook, the Outlook connector or Chatter Desktop, it would automatically chat that you did it. That there's links all over your org to discover Summer 14. There's no value to any user to discover Summer 14. You're either on Summer 14 or not. And 99% of the users in your system aren't discovering Summer 14. What are they discovering about it? They're using it. They're users. For an admin, sure, I'll go read the notes. There's what are the other pop-ups that they've done? The Chatter ones. Hey, did you know you could invite everybody on the planet to use Chatter free? Invite them now. Like that type of stuff is spammy and unasked for. So beyond just this rolling back this thing, I would like to see the movement kind of push Salesforce to realize. And I have other ideas that they've undone. Like they used to do that Chatter Desktop install and they used to chatter it. I had an idea that they pulled it away. The mobile. I think when you used to install mobile, you used to do the same thing. You would chatter live. Listen, I know you guys don't have you've lost your memory from 3 or 4 years ago, but no one liked this 3 to 4 years ago and did it. No one likes it now. It's something that really is spammy. Again, you want to give me Salesforce enterprise licenses for free? Put as many banners as you want. You could sell on the side. You can sell, then go ahead, put Viagra ads. But not for a paid application. It's a paid application. It's expensive, and the control around your communication to users should be controlled through the administrator and always default to off. Okay, I've had my say. So please help me rally support. Go to success.salesforce.com. Look for the rollback Salesforce notification banner to off idea. Vote. Post to Facebook. Tweet. Send to your friends. Ask your brother to open up developer accounts and vote on it.
Yeah, go get a dev account. It's good. Salesforce, do it.
Yeah, good. And put your comments. The last thing I will say is there is an internal debate going on around this in Salesforce.
What?
So if you they do listen to ideas. They do notice the feedback. There are things in the past that they have reversed their decision on. Analytic Edition. And so there are ways to help them move the roadmap. If there's enough movement around this, and I think trending for 2 weeks is pretty good movement.
You're on the homepage. Like literally if you go to success.salesforce.com and don't log in or don't look at anything and just look at the page.
Yeah.
your pictures
on the bottom. Yeah,
on the bottom there.
So the more we get support for this, the more I think not only for this feature, but just as a sort of a notification here and a banner to Salesforce that when you're developing these things, you need to take a little bit more drink a little bit more Kool-Aid, the customer company, what's best for the customer, and a little bit less of the how can we push this feature ahead? How can we push out our mobile? How can we talk more about Dreamforce? I think that type of stuff is stuff that you guys really need to consider. You, Salesforce, us as your customers and the people who love your software, we need to remind you to sort of get back to that. All right. So let's do some CloudFocus app picks of the week.
Okay.
Oh, next episode, or we do that after? I don't even know. Let's do it now and then.
Do it now.
Because everybody listens to CloudFocus app pick of the week. That's the hook at the end.
Then they turn it off.
Yeah. So next week, we're doing a special episode. We actually need your help, the listeners. We're going to do it's a dual episode. It's called a questions episode, and it's called the behind the scenes episode. So questions behind the scenes episode. So one is we're going to take questions from our listeners. So if you have a question for us, you can tweet at us at Just Edelstein, at Jason M. Atwood.
Or at Arkus Inc. if
at
you want.
Arkus Inc. Sure, we'll pick it up. Go into the success community, post it in there. On the millions of places, sure, on the Facebook page, wherever you want. Send us an email.
Yeah, anywhere we'll catch it.
Send
an email to whatever at arkusinc.com.
No, not whatever. Do
podcast at arkusinc.com.
Podcast at arkusinc.com.
CloudFocus Weekly at arkusinc.com.
Don't name off too many of them.
Name anything you want.
No. Send a question. We'll take a couple questions. We'll find the good ones and whatever, and we'll answer them on air.
What's this behind the scenes situation that you just threw in there?
And then the behind the scenes piece is, if we don't have enough questions, maybe we'll get into
letting people in. Like, here's how we do our thing.
Yeah, I kind of think of I think a lot of people have asked me, well, how do you do it, or where is it?
The tech,
and a little bit of the surroundings.
Oh yeah,
kind of
you mean our awesome booth with the glass window and the producer behind it,
and our producer Arky on the producing.
He's
very quiet.
You're pointing that way, but Arky's that way.
He is actually over there. Well, they can't tell where I'm pointing.
Whoa, you're pointing everywhere.
Yeah.
Don't point there.
So I think that would be kind of fun. We'll kind of talk. We'll take questions. We'll answer questions. It can be anything. It can be about us.
Yeah.
It can be if
whatever.
you say, hey, how do you could be a Salesforce question. It could be about the podcast. It could be a personal question.
Sure.
Literally.
I'll reveal my age. I don't mind.
Yes. 12, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some derivative of 12.
Or if you just want to ask a question, or if you want to ask something in the form of a question that's really a statement, like, do you really want to leave that notification banner on? We'll read that too. Get it? See, that was good. All right, so let's do our CloudFocus app pick of the week. You go first, because you always do.
So this is one of those things I had to download. It made me download it.
I'm not happy with this.
I don't like why. All right, so I'm
picking
picking this because I'm bringing awareness to it, but I feel like any Foursquare user on the planet now knows that there's an app called Swarm.
Yes. Well, you know it because you can't use Foursquare anymore.
Because you can't use Foursquare, but Foursquare still exists.
So weird.
I don't understand the purpose of it, but maybe someone can explain that to me. So anyway, if you want to check in on Foursquare, you must download an app called Swarm. And I will say I actually like the check-in experience on Swarm. I think it does a nice job of it. It has some location stuff that I turn off immediately because I'm always cognizant of my battery life, and I don't care if someone checks in near me. I'm not that kind of Foursquare user. I just kind of use it to just track where I've been.
It's my wife was talking about something she was at the other day, and she's like, "Oh, when's the last time?" I said, "Go back into your." And she was looking for some restaurant we went to. I forgot where.
Yeah, just go into Foursquare and check it
your
out.
History.
You got
it's
it.
Really nice.
So anyway, Swarm from Foursquare is available now, and if you want to check in somewhere, you got to use Swarm. And it'll check you in, and then
use my Foursquare account.
Yeah, it knows exactly who you are as soon as you open the thing up. It's like, hey, Justin, welcome to Swarm. I'm like, well, you did that well. Okay. And then when you check in, you can say post to Facebook or post to Twitter. The same.
So what's different
stuff.
about it than Foursquare?
Honestly, there's the neighborhood feature, but I feel like you could have had that in Foursquare. I'm not exactly sure where you could turn on neighborhood, and then you can see what's going on in the neighborhood, and then there's also the whole friend checking in near you situation. So, it's a new UI. It's orange, and as opposed to being blue,
say it's orange.
It's orange. So that's it. That's Swarm. You have to use it if you're if you're a Foursquare check-in person like I am, I don't check in on Facebook. I check in on Foursquare and then decide if I want to post it to Facebook
me too.
or not.
I just don't. I like because I can keep my Foursquare people
I can
limited.
keep that very, very limited, and then if I want to broaden it, I can pump it to
then
Facebook.
I can pump it to Facebook.
And I do, that's how I do it. So anyway, it's free.
Awesome.
So, and if you're a check-in person, you kind of have to use it. So
there
you're
you
being
go.
forced to use it, just like Facebook is forcing you to use messages.
Right.
It's like, I don't want another app. I just want it here. I don't get why I have to have two apps when you're one company. It's kind of like when Salesforce took Chatter out of Salesforce Mobile and then released Chatter, and you had Salesforce Mobile and Chatter, and they didn't. Whatever. Anyway, I'm off on another rat hole.
Yeah, another rat hole.
Don't need that. Go on, your turn.
Thanks, Arky. So this actually came from our last blog post. Sorry, I meant podcast. It's good that 4 years later I'm still doing the same thing. By the way, I think we just crossed our 4th year anniversary on the podcast because we did it in July. So happy 4th anniversary to us. So last week's was productivity tools and tips. You should listen to that. It's basically a bunch of stuff we picked and talked about how we use it. And a loyal listener.
Thank you, loyal listener.
I don't have to.
Yeah, you don't need to. You don't need to hide our loyal listeners.
But now I need to go find the loyal listener.
Oh, well, they'll be known as loyal listener. Then.
Loyal listener.
Thank you, loyal listener.
No, I'll go look at it right now.
Well, what's the app while you're looking?
Well, Scott Hemeter.
Oh, thanks, Scott.
Yeah, Scott, who's a long listener, actually posted a tool that he uses. And so I was like, oh, well, let me go try it out. I bought it, and I've been using it for a couple days. I actually forgot about it.
The name intrigues me. You got to tell me what it does, though.
So the product is called Clipboard History.
I like it.
It is he said it was free, and then I went to go purchase it.
Maybe when he got it, it was
free. It ain't free.
Ain't free
It's
no longer.
$4.99. It's in the App Store, so it's a Mac-only thing. Sorry, kids.
Okay.
But what it allows you to do is it keeps your clipboard history. So as you make clips, as you Control V, copy.
I need this.
It keeps a history of the things you do, so you can go back and grab something from before. So you can grab something you clipped twice before.
Oh, I need
before.
this thing.
Yeah,
because I'm always trying to copy and paste 100 things with formulas and stuff.
Yes,
instead of just putting it into the comments.
Throws
and
a little menu bar in your top. Tells you it indicates
how long does it keep.
It keeps hundreds if you want.
Really?
Yeah. And then it makes them under command keys. So you do you could do
that.
boom boom and then do the clip and go back. So if you have 3 things you're going back and forth on, you can make that 1, 2, and 3 and then keep going back on.
I see
now
this.
The only thing I don't know it does that I would love for it to do, which is my constant thing that I'm doing, is that I want things to get changed in the clipboard. What do I mean? I'd love for when I clip something from, let's say, an HTML doc or a Word doc, and I throw it into clipboard history or clipboard, I want it to reformat it. Just make it plain text. Because right now I have to pass it through an app. I have to go into an app, post it, and then take it out of that app if I want to plain text it. Because, it doesn't always
run
work.
through a little script.
Yeah, just to make it plain text. So I don't know if it does. I don't think it does it. Maybe it can be Apple scripted.
Scott, let us know.
So I bought it. It is $4.99. It's pretty cool. Again, I've only been using it for 2 days, and I forget it's there because I've been using copy and paste since forever. So it's kind of, you have to remember, oh wait, this thing is helping me, right? So it's in the background. Clipboard history.
But can you tweet from it that says how many times you've used it and how many hours it's saved?
Maybe.
Okay.
Looking at my history right now, I have 45, and I think I started it this morning. It is pretty cool. A pretty cool little thing. Obviously, careful with your clipboard because it's in your clipboard history.
Yeah, don't be going nutso in there. All right, wrap it up.
That's it.
Wrap
All right.
up.
So we told you how to follow us. We know where to get to us. Success Community Group. And next episode, please go into one of those places and post or tweet or give something, questions to us. Again, any topic.
Yeah.
We might not
I'll
answer
take
it.
pick suggestions too, just to stay with the theme of the
because
show.
Justin's running out of picks.
I'm running out of picks. There's
Literally
184 picks in. I'm running out of
Literally
picks. And a picks episode in there somewhere.
I have an Evernote with CloudFocus app week picks.
Oh,
I have
I'm
40 in
out
there.
of pick. Can you just give me 10 of them and
I
I'll
could.
just try using them?
I literally could
and
just
stuff?
give you 10. I
Thanks.
have 30 in there.
Do that, please.
I buy so much stuff.
I know you do. You're a nut.
I love, but you just think every.
I just backed a couple of Kickstarter things,
Duh.
2 different Kickstarter things, but I don't have them, so I
them
can't
yet.
say what.
Yeah.
I can say I backed 2 Kickstarter things. One of them I just got charged for one of them.
Right, that means
not
they
the
get
one that you know
funded.
about. the other one
Yeah.
is funded but isn't over yet, so I haven't gotten charged for that one.
I think we did an episode where we went over our favorite Kickstarters.
We did a Kickstarter
But like
episode.
you at that point didn't do any Kickstarter.
No, but now I'm in.
Now-
I'm in on it.
so addicting.
You know why? Because they got the mobile app, and you just sit there and just play
Click,
with it on the
click,
mobile. You're like, oh,
click,
that looks fun. I
click,
want that.
click. Well, all right. Well, from Arky, from Justin and Jason, saying we'll see you next week. New podcast. Until then, enjoy those cloudy days.